How many investors can we have before a private placement is required? This is sort of a legal answer, and you need to get your information from an attorney. But as a non-attorney, let me tell you how I think about this. The private placement is a disclosure document. So the word place means to sell. Private means you're selling shares of stock privately. So we're exempt from the registration under the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. So you don't actually have to give a lot of information to accredited investors, those wealthier people, but it's in your interest to give them more rather than less, because the more you tell them, the less likely it is that they'll ever come back and say, well, gee, if I would have known that, I never would have invested. So you want to make sure you're giving people enough information. So a private placement is a document that gives all this information about all the things that go wrong and how dangerous your deal is and how terribly awful it could be. It's not a sales document, by the way. It is a legal document that's designed to scare people away. And so you want to be very careful to let your attorney gather all the information that's necessary so that investors get an honest picture of what's going on in your business, because otherwise you're not going to get the protection that the private placement provides you. So how many people trigger the need for a private placement? Well, I would say one person. If a single person comes in your deal and you want protection, then you probably should provide that person with a private placement. And doing a joint venture, that doesn't help. Doing partnerships, that doesn't help. If you have an active person that's working with a passive person, the active person always has more power. They have more information. They have more knowledge. They have more insight. They're probably the business insider who's got the inside track to how things work. So the private person, the passive person, gets some protections from the government under the securities rules. So you want to make sure that if you've got a passive person, even a single passive person, and it doesn't matter if it's your grandmother, if you've got a single passive person, you should probably be providing to them the disclosures that are part of the private placement process. Because if you're not doing that, you leave yourself open to all kinds of problems, which an attorney could better explain to you than me. In the meantime, do this business well, do this business right. It's a great business. Just go out and stake your claim.